I swear. I swear. Uh, you guys. Here I am. I hope that my audio is good. Okay. I I figured it out, okay? Like I here I am. I'm only like 10 minutes late, so you know, um that's Sayla Mac. I'm telling you, it's partially because it's been too long since I've done a live from my typical like setup here, and then how's the audio? Is the audio loud enough? Shut up, David. Need more light. Okay, great. Um Sweet. Yeah, okay, so here's what happened. What had happened was apparently there's some arcane setting that you have to in order to use a Sony camera as your webcam on Mac OS 14.1 or whatever, you have to go into recovery mode and then you have to enter a terminal command and then you have to reboot it and then you have to restart OBS. I've restarted this computer like 6 times since 7:30. So, I mean, I can't with this. I cannot. Let's go up to like there we go. I think that'll give me a little boosty boost. Okay, there we go. That's probably a little bit better. You can probably hear me a little better, but a little bit better now. But I'm seeing that the meter is not peaking. Okay, sweet. it. Are you even using a Sony camera if you don't end up in tears trying to get it to like do something weird like you know, or not even weird, trying to get it to go as like a webcam? I think you're not. Um, Those are my cleansing breaths. Okay. See, it's got it on top chat again. I want it on bottom chat. There we go. I mean live chat, all chat, whatever. So, you know, yeah. So it took me 40 minutes to get this to work. Lisa, I have been doing smashingly. I've been great until this technical issues. I've been doing great. I've been doing a lot of skiing, but luckily, you see, the sun angle is still low enough that I'm not repeatedly getting burned. So, well, it's also been cold, so I've also had my face mask on. So, yeah, and you know, quantity of skiing is basically the clearest indication of how I'm doing. I have so the actually, you know what? They're saying breathwork stream. Here we go. No, we saw what happened to Heidi with that breathwork stream, and that was no good. No bueno. Um, so the James Somerton video that did like the best of any video that I've ever made, which like kind of I didn't really expect that. It was kind of weird. So that was exciting. So that was nice as well, to see. It's always sometimes Google is a very withholding parent. It's a very rude boss. It's a very backhanded complimenter. So it's nice when you get a win out of it. I'm just saying. Because normally it's like, this video's doing how your videos normally do. It's very backhanded. But yeah. So I was very, very, very pleased. I was very I don't know. It's good to see something that you worked hard on do really well. And it's weird because, like, it's like, I'm telling you, my that liar liar song, it never loses relevance. It's every new scandal, it still works. It still works because I'm a genius. What can I say? Oh. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. So yeah. And then I realized that, like, I'd been quiet for too long because I've been working on like two scripted videos, and I'm almost done with the one about BetterHelp. Because honestly, do we know that, like, there was like a whole thing with the FTC and BetterHelp? Like, I didn't know that it got down to that. I knew that, like, they had all the issues with privacy and everything, but, like, I did not know that the FTC had gotten involved with it. So that's not a great look, you know. And I also, it's like, it's so much worse than, if you're not following like what the whole BetterHelp controversy is. It's I was out of the loop on it. It's a lot worse than, like, what I thought it was, I guess. It's pretty horrible. And just the fact that, like, um they were sharing, like, they shared, like, the email addresses and the identities of their users with, like, Facebook and Snapchat and other advertising platforms, which, you know, just the fact that someone is seeking out therapy is sort of protected health information. That's sort of private information. And then it's especially private information if the service that they're using is called Pride Counseling, or they also have a religious based one. So you don't really have to disclose anything other than their name and the fact that they were using that service in order for you to already be in a pretty serious breach of their privacy. Yeah, because it's insane. I was just absolutely shocked, by it. So that's going to be a substantial amount of that video is going to be going over that FTC order, that was issued to BetterHelp. It's, it's almost like it's not better. Yeah, it's very disgusting. And yeah, exactly. So they've been sharing the identities of their users with Facebook, just that's what happens when these, like, tech companies, or, like, companies that think that they're tech companies even though they're not tech companies, get involved with things that are not an area that you can just treat casually. Like, it's not like social media. Like, therapy and social media have different expectations on what information is shared and not shared. I don't know. Maybe that's just the normal HIPAA expectations, but I also think that BetterHelp, I guess, allows you to access your therapist, like, 24/7, which that seems like too much. Just, on that therapist, kind of like, they're people too. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a reasonable expectation to me. And I also saw that like they only get like 30% of what you pay them or something. That's a part of the research that I'm still working on though. But the cut that BetterHelp takes is kind of insane considering that like they're not the one doing the therapy. But I guess that's how all these platforms are. Oh, Kearns, Utah. Hey, right across the valley. No, a therapist is not your therapist. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, like they don't belong to you. I'm a therapist and I believe commercialized therapy becomes Mic therapy and this stuff happens. Looking forward to your video. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't, it's, yeah, it's not the easiest thing to access therapy. However, that doesn't mean that like this is automatically a good service. Like there's a reason that it's, a very long process to choose a therapist or to find the one that's right for you or, to begin a relationship with a therapist. Like there's a reason that it is such a long process because you're kind of, it's gonna be there's a lot that's gonna depend on the individuals, and it's gonna take some time to build up some rapport and to get the background and everything, to learn like what works for you, what's not right for you or whatever. And this type of model with BetterHelp is that that ain't it. It's just not. I don't know. I mean, it would be really nice if you could just get all that benefit from just, clicking in an application or whatever. But I don't think so. I don't know. And it's more expensive too because you have to pay the cut that BetterHelp is taking. Ridiculous. It's such an exploitative business model that is bad for patients, bad for customers, since it promises services they can't provide as the model. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Your mic is in. Yeah, I know. Like my camera is struggling. Yeah. Yeah, I can't really. It's supposed to be autofocusing, but it's probably little that I can do about it. Other than like I'd have to like go over there and then it would interrupt the flow. You like me fuzzy. Menstrual tracking apps, it's like that could be like really concerning toward like what if more states become like Texas, and I don't know, like could law enforcement like look through that data and like use it to like prosecute someone for having a miscarriage or something as if it's an abortion? That seems like a valid concern these days with like a menstrual tracking app, where like where it's like into like this black box, like where you don't know what they might be sharing or whatever. Like, I don't know. It seems like we're in enough of a boring dystopia for that to be like a real concern. I don't know though. I don't know the details on that. Serious boundary issue. Yeah, I agree. Like a lot of things, this is tech bros trying to commoditize something and make it one size fits all. Exactly. Drive-through counseling. That'll be next. Not sure if this is true, but I heard that some of their therapists are life coaches and have no therapeutic credentials. That would be alarming because as far as I know, like I'm pretty sure you can just say that you're a life coach. I don't think there's any sort of like credentialing process for them. So that's alarming if so. I would hope they would disclose that at minimum, but Vallejo, California police were sending license plate info to Texas from the street that Planned Parenthood was on. That's, I swear, like, it's crazy. It's crazy how people think that like these types of policies won't go that far. It's like, well, what's stopping it? Like, that's the goal, isn't it? They wouldn't be able to take insurance. As I was under the impression that BetterHelp did not take insurance. It's illegal to send license plate info across state lines. Yeah, but it's the police. It doesn't count when it's the police, right? Rules for thee and not for me. I mean, it might be illegal, but they do it anyway. Hasn't stopped them from doing a lot of things, I guess. I was under the impression that BetterHelp did not accept insurance. Maybe they do though. I should check. That's part of, mainly I've been focusing on the FTC stuff, but like I still need to like hammer out some other details on the details of like the BetterHelp service. But yeah, I mean, a lot of insurance doesn't cover therapy like at all, or only covers like very limited amounts of appointments. So the plan, they want Optum and other mental health insurance offices to name them the preferred provider. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's weird that they want to accept insurance, because like insurance is gonna negotiate down their rates. So but I guess if you are, able to pressure the therapist into accepting less because you're BetterHelp, then I guess it's not much of a concern for you, is it? Yeah, it's pretty insane that Roe versus Wade was overturned. Yeah, it might have been a while ago, but like it's still as shocking as the day it happened. Although not really. I mean, it wasn't shocking when it happened because you knew like that was the plan. That's why they were so desperate to appoint Supreme Court justices. Like, I don't know what people thought that they were trying to do, but like that's what they were trying to do. That's the reason they were so desperate for it, was so they could overturn Roe versus Wade. Like that was the entire point. And then people are like, but they said that they wouldn't touch Roe versus Wade. It's like, yeah, they said that so that you would confirm the justices they picked. Cause like they knew that like you wouldn't if they said that they were going to. I don't know how else to explain this to you. Like they lied. Like really? Really? Mental health parity law and Obamacare required. I don't know. All I know is my insurance like does not cover that. Or it covers like 3 appointments or something like that. Let's see here. Plus the other thing is that like a lot of insurance plans that people have like really high deductibles. So I think everybody took Roe versus Wade for granted until it was gone. Because it just seemed like that was whatever. It's a whole, this country. It's the best. Oh, I just did it again. When you read chat, sometimes you're so still, I thought my Wi-Fi froze. And then I did it while I was reading that sentence. Yeah. That's my focus face. I need to keep waving my little pencil around. That's what I need to do. Kaiser covers mental health, but there are no available therapists. The BetterHelp website says they do not accept insurance. That's what I thought. I thought they didn't. Thank you, Lisa. I was like 90% sure that they did not accept insurance. Yeah. Kaiser is a pretty good health system in general. You know, I mean, obviously, like, it has its flaws in terms of, like, it's, you know, healthcare is always in short supply, but Kaiser does a pretty good job. At least it does a better job than what's available in most states. Like, once my friend took a time-lapse photo and I was the only one who didn't move. That's funny. So like everyone else is like all like blurred and like you're like still. That's funny. Probably looks like some kind of like album cover or something for like a band. Yeah, so yeah, and that's the whole thing is like, you know, if they don't, so BetterHelp, they don't accept insurance. They're more expensive. If I mean, but I think that people kind of go to that because it can be really onerous trying to find like it's a lot easier to go on a website or an app, obviously. Like it's very easy to do that, but like the results that you get are probably gonna not be super great because, you know, sometimes the thing that's gonna work better is not as easy. I just did the freezing thing again, didn't I? Uh, oh, I love Kaiser. It's just not an option for mental health in my area. Yeah. It really, I feel like, especially, particularly therapists are always kind of in short supply. They're kind of they're like the primary care physician of mental health. You know, there's no primary care physicians and there's no therapists. Or psychiatrists even. There's no psychiatrist either. It's like a 4-month waiting list. It's, you know, it's great. I cried when my therapist retired. Yeah. My psychiatrist died and it was the worst. I mean, it was like a while back. That's why I'm not broken up about it anymore. But, and then you have to, it's a whole thing. And yeah. Find them super predatory, to be honest. Finding a good licensed therapist is a daunting task. Opening a website gives a false sense of ease. That's exactly the thing. It gives a false sense of ease. It makes it seem like if you do this, it's going to give you a great result. You know, it's very seductive to that you can just go on there and do that versus like calling around and, you know, all this stuff and finding out, no, they're not taking new patients. Da 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 da. But like, there's a reason people do it. You know, I don't know. You can't just turn everything into Uber. Even Uber can't turn itself into Uber. I love how by the way, when I've been researching and kind of coming up with formulating my thoughts on Theranos, by the way, like I've been looking at like other examples of startups that turned out to be scams or like versus startups that became successful, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody cites Uber as being a successful startup. Uber has still not turned a profit. Like, what are we defining success as? Last time I checked, a successful business turns a profit. That drives me insane. It literally drives me insane. that Uber is held up as a success. How long have they had to turn a profit and they haven't? Yeah, well, okay. So the comment is about how Isabella just did a video on BetterHelp and said they don't have to follow HIPAA laws, and that is scary. Yeah. What's funny though is they were perfectly fine putting the little HIPAA certification logo on their website. So, I mean, so like it's like, so what is your consumer supposed to draw from the presence of that logo? It's crazy. I mean, they've removed it now because the FTC told them to. Um, yeah. I guess the you are my high standards. Yeah, to my not, I don't think they have yet. Last time I checked, which was like last year, Uber has still not turned a profit. Like, and they've been around for how long? It's crazy. So, Marshall, BetterHelp is like not a healthcare provider though, is the issue here. Like the therapists are like not their employees. It's how they skirt around these things. How they get therapists to work for them, the rules that make it hard to treat yeah, that's I see, and that's the thing about BetterHelp is there's this whole thing like on the back end of it, on the therapist side of it, that kind of sucks for them as well. Just as much as it sucks for the patients. It's a really bad platform. Yeah. Let's hope it pays off for them, Cotton. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about Uber. They're I wish I could just start a business and never turn a profit, and investors just inexplicably keep funneling money in. I think here's the thing. I think that Uber's original plan was to eventually have self-driving cars, and then once they got rid of all of the human drivers, then they would be turning a profit. But like since like self-driving cars seem to be like a pretty long way away from being like viable for like a wide range of purposes and a wide range of places, and like, you know, after it snows, yeah, so they're kind of fumbling a bit. BetterHelp appeals to people who are already vulnerable and want to avoid the interaction that would come from making direct calls and potentially be asked questions you weren't expecting. Yeah. Um, yeah, definitely. Super predatory. Let's see here. Yep. Great. All right, I'm caught up here. um, okay. Sorry, I sometimes I like have to I see one message and then I'm like, oh, well, let me like read back a little bit, and then I'm like, hey, you're just sitting here not saying anything silently, and people are probably like, would you care to say something? So I'm like, okay. Yeah. It's I don't know. BetterHelp it's a really bad company. And it sucks that like a lot of people promote them. Theranos was wild. Who thought that stuff would work? I definitely did not think. I remember back in like 2014, 2015, I was in pharmacy school and I heard about this and I was just like, how? Like how like that's impossible. Like what you're describing is impossible. Furthermore, I understand that a lot of people drop out of college to start, Facebook or Apple Computer or Microsoft or whatever. Okay? But you can learn to code, you can learn to write code and to do computer programming like on your own. Okay? But like you don't usually there's not a lot of people who have taught themselves molecular biology or biochemistry. There just aren't. There are not a lot of self-taught biochemists out there. So, I'm sorry if I'm skeptical back in 2014. I'm skeptical that this person who has not completed any kind of biochemistry coursework has just come up with like the revolution in blood testing. Like this isn't starting a website or launching a social media service. Okay? Like it's a little bit different from that. Can't wait for the fantasy science. Yeah, definitely. They always say like, "Oh, it's gonna work. It'll eventually work. We just have to keep sucking up VC money until it works." But it's like, don't you think that like Siemens or whatever would have figured out how to do that if it were possible? Because then they could charge more money for their test than for the other test. Also, here's the other thing: is like the value proposition of the Theranos thing was supposed to be that like yes, a lot of people are scared of needles, but the like a finger stick hurts more than getting a blood draw usually, and usually you're going to have to do it multiple times to get like enough blood out of there. And furthermore, I would say that among the reasons that people don't get blood work done that they're supposed to get done, I would say probably the major reasons there, probably before fear of needles, is probably like cost, that they can't afford it, that they just, that it just kind of like slips their mind or whatever. They never schedule it. Like, like, yeah, there are a lot of people who are deathly afraid of needles and like will not go in for that. But like, I feel like that's a less common reason than like the price, that they know it's going to cost a lot of money, or that they don't want to know the results, which is a different thing from what, you're trying to solve here. Because it's entirely possible that they don't want to get the blood test done because they don't want to know what the result is. That's really common too. Do I code? I know like I can do like some shell scripting, and I can do like I know like some Python, but like I don't know a lot of code or anything. I wouldn't say that I code. I worked for the NIH. That's when I listened to Big Brains about the scientific. Yeah, it was totally improbable. I had a horrible experience getting blood drawn and left me even more anxious to get my blood drawn. Yeah. I hate finger pricks. Yeah, like it's like, and I understand that if you have like a phobia of needles, that it's not really about what hurts more. I get that, like, if you have a fear of needles, like you don't really care that like the finger stick hurts more. It's because you're afraid of needles. It's not about the pain level, but like still like finger sticks hurt, and like you have to like milk the blood out of them and everything. Like I don't know if like a lot of people who thought it was a good idea had ever tried doing a finger stick before, but like it's a whole process. It takes forever, especially if you have to like get enough to do several tests on it. Like you have like it tends to be messy too. It's a whole thing. Yeah. Oh my God, that sounds very traumatic. The blood draw experience that you're describing, Chrissy. I'm very sorry that happened to you. That's horrible. That sounds like a very terrible experience. That sounds like a nightmare. Yeah. I just, it's so easy for me to get a blood draw. Look at that. I have huge veins. That's not, yeah, I don't know why they would think that that was a good idea to hold you down like that. Like surely there would have been a way to like talk through that or something, or at least some way of doing it that did not involve like physically holding you there. That sounds awful. That sounds really awful. Like not great. Not from any of the people involved in this story. Mm. Because like what? Like do you think like that's gonna make you react better the next time? Like no, that's gonna like cause like a flashbulb memory. That sounds horrible. My arm draw kept bleeding unbeknownst to me and ended up dripping all down my arm. Ew. I've never had that happen to me. My mom passes out. Yeah, some people like they really, it's just they see blood and like they just pass out, like and that's it's not their fault. Like it's just that's how they are. Um, but again, a finger stick's not going to feel better than that, especially because like you're going to be smearing blood everywhere trying to do a finger stick. Yeah. Oh, it was a panic attack. See, yeah, see. But like, if they had been a little bit more thoughtful about it, maybe they could have, given like a sedative or something that would have, helped bring it down a little bit so that you'd be okay with it. And that's the other thing is like some people do, if they have to get a blood draw done, they have to get like a benzo or something like that. Which again is better than doing a finger stick. Especially if your finger stick is gonna not work and then you're gonna give people false results at Walgreens. I can't believe that Walgreens partnered with Theranos. I still can't believe Walgreens did that. Outrageous. No one makes me bleed my own blood. uh, the story about the arm draw continuing to bleed kind of reminds me of when I got my wisdom teeth out. And like I just like looked down at one point and it was just like blood. Just so much blood. I'm just like, Yeah, that was really shitty of your dad, Chrissy. I would hope that heads at Walgreens rolled it, but I hope that the heads were like executive heads. Because not enough. I feel that this is a problem in this country. Not enough executive heads roll frequently enough. And that is a hill that I will die on. I want more heads of executives rolling, please. I I want some C-suite heads rolling. You're not gonna touch that comment. I'm sorry. um, seems like it's not my place. Oof. Uh, I've never donated plasma before, but I always feel like I should because I have like because I'm AB positive, so like I have the universal plasma donor. But like I also feel like there's enough people probably donating plasma. I don't know. Futurama's executive powder. Yes, please. They will roll, but they get caught by their golden parachute. I know. Seriously, like all you have to do is read about golden parachutes if you just want to be really angry. Like I wish I got millions of dollars for almost running a company into the ground. This is why I call them unskilled executives. Went on to be the CFO of Walgreens, went on to be CEO of Joann Fabrics, which is declaring bankruptcy. And I'm sure that like now, after they declare bankruptcy, just another little parachute just coming in, you know? I would like to see more. I want to see less. I want to see fewer executives that skydive with golden parachutes, and I would like to see more of them base jumping with golden parachutes, because then like they'd have like a 1 in 60 chance of at least dying. I just learned that statistic. Isn't that crazy? You have a 1 in 60 chance of dying from base jumping. So I'm just like, why would you do that? There are risks I will take. That's not one of them. The hopper, yeah, like MLM hunts. It's true. That's the story of the new Prime Minister of New Zealand. No one on the board of Joann has experience with the crafts and fashion business. That's probably why they're declaring bankruptcy. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up at like 8:55 Mountain. So we got 3 more minutes. There was another stat that I learned. It was about like extreme. It was something like if you go above like 6,000 meters in the Himalayas hiking, like you have like a 1 in 100 chance of dying. It might have been even like 1 in 25 or something. Pretty crazy. It's like not great odds, you know? Because I know it's 1 in 4 for climbing K2, which is like the second tallest mountain in the world, which is insane. Know someone who does it a lot. F that. Agree. Yeah, no, maybe like 1 in 60 odds of something bad happening. That's like pretty good odds unless you're talking about the event being you die. Then I'm not okay with 1 in 60. It's been great hanging out this evening. Yes, I agree. This has been a good live. You know, it started on time. It started on time. It started on time. And it was great. And that will remain the official party line. And then Sherpas have to risk their lives to clear you off the... Yeah, exactly. I love how they act like Sherpas are like animals, like when they talk about it. It's like they're not also people. I don't know. I just so much of like extreme climbing and like accomplishments like that are less of a function of like physical capability than they are of like having enough money to pay for it and having either the ability to not have a job or having a job that allows you to take like 4 months off, you know? Like, I don't have any doubt that like I could do some of these things, but like I can't afford that and I can't take off of work for that long. It's really more of what it is. It's really just, it's not really bravery that really keeps, most eligible people from doing that. It's really financial than anything else. Of course it started online. Yes. Oh, I love you too. They're all from the C-suite. Sherpas are real people with families. They are risking their lives to support. Absolutely. It's crazy how like it just the way that they word these accomplishments is just like it'll be like name, 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 and 3 Sherpas. Really? Um it's like, are we not going to talk about what you're doing there? I'd rather be a tropical beach than on a mountain. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yes. Oh, I just freaked myself out um by doing the freeze to read the chat thing because then I looked at the preview and I was like, "Oh shit, did the stream freeze?" Then I'm like, "No, I'm frozen." This is getting very meta. The richer you are, the more NPCs you see. True. True. Because, people are just things that you put the money in and then the outcome comes out, right? Yeah. They're not real people. Because if they deserved to achieve their dreams, then they'd be rich and you'd be poor. But that's not the way it is. So I guess that's just evidence of your virtue, right? Right. So sorry, I didn't mean the freezing thing. It is in my head though. All right. All right. Call me Jason Derulo because it's in my head. I can see it going down. That was Jason Derulo, right? Back in like 2010 in my head. I don't know. We'll see. I know songs. That was a very old song. I realize that. It's going to be like one of those things where they make fun of me for being a millennial, where they're like, "Oh, you said LOL at the end of the sentence." And I'm like, "We do not do that, LOL." Insert the crying laughing face. I mean, sorry that I just don't want you to think that I'm mad at you, so I said LOL. Tropical yeah, although I'm not down to be on a tropical beach though. That sounds very humid to me. I will never go near a mountain that uses corpses as landmarks. Yeah, it's pretty I don't know. Even if I had enough money to do Mount Everest, I would not. Especially after I saw that photo of like the queue to get to the summit. Like, what is this, Disneyland? I put LOL after all. Yeah, you have to. You have to say LOL or people will like get uncomfortable, right? I'm glad you all agree with me that it started on time. So now, that's the official party line. Okay? Cool. Thank you for coming to my live. It means a lot to me that all of you would like to come spend some time with me on a Tuesday. Or it's probably Wednesday in Australia, yeah. I think it's Wednesday in Australia right now. So on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, Either way, thank you for stopping by. I don't know if that's an Anchorman reference or not. I don't know what that was supposed to be. I'm supposed to do like, I've been Mac, peace out, bye. That's my line. But like, I didn't say it right that time, so that doesn't count as ending the live. But now we're going to end the live. All right.